Hey guys, welcome to Cameroon GC Revision video tutorials. And right now we are going to be looking at GC 2021 ICT Paper 3 for day 2. Remember the previous video we had correction which we were looking at day 1. So day 1 and day 2 are two different papers but very similar. So right in front of me, I have the question paper for 2021, day 2 for ICT. So in front, you have the candidate information where candidates need to fill their information. And you have the instructions given to candidates. And also you have to check if at all a folder or any information was given to you that's provided from the GC board. So yeah, they said the supervisor will guide you on how to save your files, but usually you will be expected to save all your files in one candidate, in one folder named candidate folder that will be created on your desktop. So you already have a candidate folder that is created on your desktop. So this is my candidate folder here for day 2, right? So remember we had day 1 and now we're working on day 2. So you can look at the previous videos for day 1, or you get access to information from day 1, the corrections from day 1. Okay, we move straight away to the tax A, which is database, similar like the other one. They said a car dealer has 10 brokers, middlemen who work for buyers in his car shops in the towns of Douala, Kumba, and Buea and Bamenda. Part of the information about the sales of his cars is found in a workbook named Car Sales, found in the candidate folder. So I'll just go ahead and open my candidate folder, and I'm expecting to see a file known as Car Sales. So as you can see, that's a file, Car Sales, right? So this is Car Sales, the file which is found inside the folder. So this workbook contains 2 sheets named brokers and sales. So I'm just going to open my car sales, this car sales, and I have 2 sheets right below it. This sheets, broker and sales. The personal information of the broker is stored in the sheet name broker, while the transaction carried out by the broker is recorded in the sheet name sales. The table below shows a description of cars found in the car shops in the 4 towns. So I have table 1, which is cars. So I have car code, car name, and the unit price. So this is the information about the cars which are being sold. So activity 1 says create a database named car sales DB. So I also advise you to maybe have a printout of this copy so that I can be following up all the time. Okay, I have my database, which is open, which is Microsoft Access, and I'm using Microsoft Access 2016. So those of you who have 2007 upwards, it's no big deal. So they said I should create a database named Car Sales DB. So I have car sales DB. So now I need to specify my location, because actually as I create this, it's going to be stored inside documents, because this is the path where my file or my database is going to be stored. So for me to change my location so that I can store inside my folder, candidate folder day 2, I simply click this icon beside this folder icon. Click on it and I'll have a window that opens. So I know that my folder is on the desktop. Click on desktop, then I look for my folder. So I am on candidate folder day 2. So I go inside candidate folder day 2 and I still make sure my file name is car sales database. So I click on OK. Now, as you can see, the file path has been changed, right? So I'm sure that I'm storing my database inside the candidate folder day 2. So I simply go ahead and create. Next, it says, create the table above in the created database and save it as cars. So I need to create my table, which they have given to me, that table of cars. So what do? I go ahead and work on table 1, right? So I go to the design view for me to design my fields, but they ask me to save. So I need to save this as cars. Okay. Then I need to specify my field name and data type. So the first field name is car code, and the data type is short text. The next is car name. I have car name. The data type still short text. The next is unit price. Unit price, data type is numbers, so I deal with figures, right? Okay, car code is the field which has a primary key. So it's the field which uniquely identifies the record, right? So I save and I go to my datasheet view. From my datasheet view now, I can fill my information. First car AB1, I have Toyota Avensis, and the unit price is 2,500,000. 2,500,000. Make sure this is actually big. 2,500,000. The next is CD2. CD2, and the car name is Toyota Corolla. I have Toyota Corolla. Yeah, I have 2,300,000. The next is M41. I have M41. BMW Picnic. BMW Picnic. I have 2,625,000. 2,625,000. I have AB2. AB2. I have a Mercedes 220. 220. 1,800,000. Yeah, 2,500,000. 2,300,000. 2,625,000. 1,800,000. NS2. NS2. I have a Mercedes 300. I have 3 million. Okay, I'm done with my cars table. I just save. The next is complete the table below. Let me just bring out this. Complete the table below, stating the properties of the fields in the cars table. So I go back to my design view, and from my design view, I can see the field name and the data type. So they want us to fill this data type on the question paper. So I need to fill out this data type. So the first one I had was short text. Second I had was still short text. And the unit price I had was numbers. Numbers. Okay, I'm done with that. The next is import the two tables, one after the other, from the car sales workbook into the database. The car sales workbook is found in the candidate folder as I opened earlier. So this was my car sales workbook, which I had the broker and sales. So they want us to import these two tables inside our database. They gave us a hint. Right click on a table named in the object pane and select import Excel. Using the wizard, browse to the Excel workbook. Use the first row of each table as the field names. Ensure that no extra columns or rows are added to each of the tables. Else delete such columns and rows after the import. So we are going to import these two tables inside our database, right? Inside the database. So they've given you the hint of how to do that. For those of you who don't know how to import, you just follow these instructions and you are easily going to import your two tables. Okay, the first says we have to right click on any table in the object pane. So you have right clicked on our cars table or any other table you will find inside your database. So you just right click and I have import. As I hover on import, I have various areas where I can import data and I select Excel. So this window appears and I have to browse because the file name, I need the file name or the name of the file which I want to import the tables from. So I'm going to browse and look for my candidate folder, day 2. So I select my car sales file and I open. So I'm importing from car sales, which is an Excel file. Click OK. Another window is going to appear showing me the sheets which are there or the tables which are there, right? So the first table I'm going to import is the brokers table, right? The brokers table. So I take next and I make sure that the brokers table has all my fields, right? And I take next. So Microsoft Access, it's asking me if I should use the first row as my heading. Obviously, I have to use the first row as my heading from the instructions. I take next. Now you have the field name and the data type. So you have to make sure that all my field names are there and my data types are actually correct. So you can go to each and see field name and the data type. I take next. Let Access add a primary key. No, I don't want Access to add another field as primary key, right? So I can just take no primary key and that field goes away. So if I let Access add a primary key, then I have this additional field which is included. And the question says no additional field should be included. So I have to choose my own primary key. So from this, I'll choose my primary key, which will be broker ID. So this field will uniquely identify this record. So I take next and I import the table and I finish. Close. So I can see I have my cars table, I have my brokers table, which has been imported. Okay, we need to import the second table. From the second table, as I come to Excel and I realize that I have date and this date was not correctly put, because if I import, I'll surely have an error. So from the date, I have the month, the day, and the year. So yeah, I don't have 15th month. So I'm just going to remove this one to make it the 5th month, right? And I save. Okay. So the next thing I still use the same steps. I right click on any table. Now I'm having two tables, so I can right click on any one and I say import from Excel, still from the candidate folder day 2, but I browse to look for the file. That's the file. I take OK. So I select the second worksheet, which is the sales. I'll need to import the sales. The first we imported was broker. So now I'm importing sales. Take next. The first row as heading. Yes, it's ticked. Next. So the field names and the data types. Yes. No primary key, or choose my own primary key. I will take no primary key for the moment. And I click on finish. So I have my sales table which had been imported. So from this sales table, I'll observe that I have broker ID and car code, right? So broker ID here is acting as a primary key. Car code is acting here as a primary key. So it means in the sales table, this broker ID and car code are foreign keys, right? So they'll be used to create relationship between these two tables, right? So how do I do that? I go back to my design view. And so I need to put a key on broker ID and car code. How do I do that? As I select the first field, I hold the control key on the keyboard. I select the second field and I simply click on primary key. And I have my two primary keys which have been appeared on these two fields. So I save. So we go move to the next question. The next question says, state the possible keys of the database, the primary keys. So what primary keys do I have there? As I earlier explained, the primary keys I have there, we had the first primary key I had was the broker ID and the car code. So here you fill broker ID, then car code, broker ID and car code as primary key. Foreign key, remember we had our foreign key which was creating a relationship between these two tables, right? On the sales table, we had broker ID and car code as foreign keys. So yeah, I still have broker ID, the car code as foreign keys. Next, state the composite key if there's any. Composite key is a field which is made up of other fields, right? So I don't think I have a composite key on this my database. Okay, the next is by studying the theory tables, create a relationship linking the theory tables in the database. Draw a level diagram of the created relationship. So this is my relationship that I'm going to create. So I have the brokers table, I have the cars table, then I have the sales table. Here I've just specified that the brokers table is the primary key. The car code here is the broker's ID, sorry, is the primary key. The car code is a primary key in the cars table. Now the sales table, I have broker ID and car code, which are foreign keys. So how do I create a relationship? To create a relationship, I will go to database tools. When you click on database tools tab, you click on relationship. But the first thing I'll need to do is I'll add my tables. So I need to add the three tables. I add the first table, add the second table, and add the third table, which is sales. The next thing is we cannot create a relationship when our tables are still open. So you need to close each of these tables and make sure it is saved before you close. I save, then I close. I save, then I close, right? So now I need to do the relationship. With the relationship, I have to drag what is common, right? I just pull what is common and I drop inside the table, right? Because a relationship is obviously what we have in common. So I pull broker ID and I drop it inside the sales table. So a window appear like this, and you have to make sure that you are actually selecting the broker's ID on the broker's table and the broker's ID on the sales table, right? So here the relationship type is one-to-many. I need to enforce referential integrity. All of us know what's referential integrity. First of all, integrity is the correctness and truthfulness of data to make sure that all the IDs are inside the sales table. All the brokers ID that are inside the sales table are found in the brokers table, right? You cannot create an ID and put inside the brokers inside the sales table if it's not found in the brokers table. So I cascade update and cascade delete. Then I create, that's the relationship. It's a one-to-many. I do same for the cars table. I pull out the car code and I drop it inside. So the window appears, and if it's that the field which I need has not been selected, I can just click on this and select the actual field which I need. So I know that car code is what I selected from the cars table, and car code is actually what I'm relating on the sales table. So I still have the relationship type one-to-many. I enforce referential integrity, cascade update, and cascade delete. Okay, now says Microsoft Access can't access this relationship and enforce referential integrity. It means I have a problem somewhere. First of all, I look at the name, everything is okay. Then I have to go back to my cars code table and my cars code table on the sales and car code table on the cars table. So I open these two tables and I have to check. I have the sales, the cars table, car code. What I need to check is this car code, AB1, AB2, AB1, AB2, CD, and the rest. I make sure that all my fields here are okay. So I have NS3. Yeah, I have NS2, right? I think I made a mistake while typing this. Let's see, NS3. Okay, I instead put NS2. So you see what has happened, right? If you're not vigilant and you do that relationship, you have a problem. So I have NS2 instead on the sales. No, sales, I had NS3, and the cars table, I need to have NS3, right? Because on the cars table, I have this relationship NS3, right, which I typed wrongly. I said type the NS2. Right, so it says it and says it can't create the relationship because here there was an NS3 and here there was no NS3. So you see what happened. Okay, I save and I close. So I do the relationship again. Then I enforce referential integrity, cascade update, and cascade delete. And I create. So you saw what happened. So if you have a problem like this, you can check the data type. First of all, you check the names. These names need to be okay. You check the data types, then you check the data, which is in the primary table. And you check the data, which is in the other table, which has a foreign key, because I can't have a data here, which it's not inside the primary table, as you saw. So I save and my relationship is okay, which you have the diagram down here. The next is use query to produce a summary that will show the cars sold by various brokers in the various towns on the 13th of February 2020 and 14th of February 2020. Save the query as 13 sales 14. From the database, print the cars and sales tables and the 13 sales 14 query. Okay, well, to create a query, first of all, you know a query is simply the demand of data or the extraction of data from a database. I still bring the question. It's a use query to produce a summary that will show the cars sold by various brokers in the various towns on the 13th of February 2020 and 14th of February 2020. I go back to my database, then I click on create. I have create, you have tables, queries, forms, reports, and so on. These are the tools. So I click on query design. I need to design a query. So I add my tables which I need. I close. And on this section, I'm supposed to produce a summary that will show the car sold, right? So here I'm to select actually what I'm to display, selecting what is to be displayed. So I have to show the cars sold. So for me to show the car sold, I need the car code, car name, and unit price. So from the cars table, I'll need the car code. From the cars table, I'll need the car name. From the cars table, I'll need the unit price. The unit price. I think that's it. By various brokers. So I'll need the broker ID and the broker name. From the brokers table, I'll need the broker ID, the person who actually sold it, and the broker's name. The broker's name. I don't think the gender too is. I'll not include the gender. So I need the broker ID and the broker name. I think that one can be okay. Various brokers in the various towns. Okay, so I'll obviously need the town of the broker. Right, in the brokers table, I'll need the town. I need to display the town. Now the date. The date is found on the sales table, right? I obviously need the date, and with the date it has been specified, right? They're giving us a criteria. This is the criteria, right? So the criteria will fall under the date saying for the 13th February 2020, 13th02 2020, and the 14th02 2020, 14th02 2020, right? So this is a summary for the sales of the 14th February and the 13th February. So I'll just go ahead and run. So it's going to display all the car code, the car name, the unit price, the broker ID, and the broker's name with their towns that which the cars that were sold on the 13th and the 14th of February 2020. So they said, let us save this as 13 sales 13 sales 13 sales 14. I take okay, right? So yeah, I have 13 sales 14, and you see print the database, print the cars and sales table. So we launch the printing and print each of these. So I save and I make sure everything is okay. So we have come to the end of the tax A for this exercise. I hope the video helped and it's understood. You can go to the previous one, day one, because day one and day two, they are similar, right? They are similar, just that the names of the files were different. So the first one, we have the different file name, which was trans business. And the second one, we're having the file name called code. So make sure you like, subscribe, and you share.